everybody. Welcome to the Steckline Report from the Ponderosa, where the wheat crop is growing. Holy Toledo, it's as long and as tall as I've seen it in a good long time. The only problem is the price of that stuff's going down every day, and I'm going to talk about that, plus a few other items coming up in just a minute.
I first got started in the cattle business. My wife and my father-in-law got me into it. I love dealing with the animals and being in the outdoors. At American Ag Credit, I know a lot of them are in the same business that I am. Therefore they understand what I need and what problems I'm against, so they can work with you on it, and it makes it much easier.
It's been passed down to me through the generations, and I want to pass it on down to the next generation or two.
Well, back on the Ponderosa here, the Steckline Report is centering on this old wheat crop coming on at the present time, and boy, it is coming on. Here in this part of the country, we've had more rain the last 2 months than we normally have by a long shot, friends, and it's paying off. Rain makes grain. You've heard of that, haven't you? And that's what's going to happen here. This is probably the tallest wheat I've seen in years. This is a new variety from Kaufman Seed Company over at Yoder, Kansas, and I believe it's going to be quite the wheat. Last year, some of this stuff made 100 bushels an acre, and that was for a quarter, too. Now, I don't think this is going to even come close to that, but I got to tell you, it looks about as good as any wheat crop I've ever grown. And I must tell you that I took a little trip over the state of Kansas in the last few days with an airplane and in the car. And there's a lot of wheat out there that looks like this. Scary. I can remember, in fact, I talked to farm show people, remember back in February and March, January. Talked to you folks here on the air about that as well. I was very concerned about the price of our grain products going downhill because of what I saw was happening this year. And sad to say that I proved to be right this time. I wish I wasn't. This old grain market has been on the downward decline ever since then, it seems like. And I've predicted for quite some time that I thought that during harvest we might do good to get $5 a bushel for this old crop if nothing major happens, like an early freeze. If it was still freeze on this stuff, we'd be in trouble. It's not fully headed out by any extent of the imagination here yet, but it will be in the next 5 to 7 days. It's going to be earlier than normal, but not as early as some people were predicting. This crop will probably be ready somewhere around the first week in June. Normally we're about June 10. So yes, it's earlier, and it looks like most of Kansas has got a tremendously good crop. Northwest Kansas, we travel Interstate 70. We can tell you that most of that crop up there looks about as good as it can. A very big crop coming on there. Now, I know some people still need some rain, especially southwest Kansas, but 75% of this state of ours has got themselves in a pretty good shape, and I'm mighty worried about that Wheat Council tour that they take every year, because they're going to be reporting some pretty big figures, and folks, that's not going to help. That's not going to help the price when that comes out, for sure. Now, on top of this problem that we have with beautiful wheat here in this part of the country, pretty good wheat in Texas too. 10 times better than it was last year during their major drought, so keep that in mind. And then we've got the planters going to the fields as we speak. They're putting in corn faster than you can shovel it into the planters, and it looks like there'll be quite a bit of corn out there that might oversupply us a little too. Soybeans seem to be in pretty good hands at this particular point in time. The Brazilians had a problem with their crop. That helps out some. And we have less acres going into soybeans, more going into corn. And with that, that'll keep that soybean market in pretty good shape. So anybody thinking about planting soybeans, looks to me like your market's pretty good there. Well, we'll have to wait and see how all this turns out. It's a long ways from the combine yet, but so far it looks mighty good. In the meantime, they're working on a farm bill back in Washington. I'll just keep you up to date right quickly. There was a GAO report out that really criticized, if you would, crop insurance, because there are no limits on how much crop insurance subsidies farmers can get. So the big farmers are under pressure there again. I'm going to talk about that, plus other farm bill items, in the next Steckline Report. I'll see you then.